So there's a hidden reason why 99% of cloud engineers fail and only 1% make it to the top. It's not about technical skills or certifications. It's a roadmap that I have cracked and I'm going to share with you today. And if you're new to the channel, in the last decade, I've gone from an apprentice without any money to running my own successful cloud business. I've built a YouTube channel that's nearly at 100,000 subscribers, and I work for myself whenever I want and wherever I want. Sounds good, right? Well, it was only possible because I cracked this code. And if you're watching this video, chances are you're probably stuck in that 99%. But don't worry, because you've come to the right place, because I'm going to reveal the key principles that separate the top 1% of cloud engineers from the rest. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to give out a free action plan that you can use today to start your journey. But before we get started, check out my weekly cloud newsletter where I share free resources, tutorials, bootcamps, and so much more, helping you make your cloud move. Right, let's dive into it, and I'll take you back to my early days exploring cloud engineering and wanting to break into this industry, eager to impress those around me. I thought what would be a brilliant idea is that I would go and collect every cloud certification known to man. AWS, CompTIA, you name it, I was going to get it. And for the next 6 months, I studied for every exam. I barely slept. And I was guzzling down energy drinks, and those late nights meant I also ignored everything else in my life. Finally, after 6 grueling months, I had a wall full of shiny new certifications. I started applying for some new roles because in my head, I assumed that I was now more valuable. I could solve more problems, therefore I had to be paid more, right? But do you know what happened? Crickets. Rejection after rejection. I couldn't land a single job, let alone an interview. And a funny story is that it didn't dawn upon me until an interviewer asked me straight up, "Your certifications are great. Can you actually build anything?" That's when it hit me. I had fallen into the certification trap. The thing is, and I know this might sting a bit if you're neck deep in cert prep right now, certifications isn't enough. I'm not saying they're useless. They're not. They show that you've got the basics down, but it's just not enough. So what do? How do you stand out in a pool of highly qualified cloud engineers? How did I do it? I got my hands dirty. I started building things. And look, if you're in my Cloud Engineer Academy, you know that this is one of the things that I drum home about the most. And that's why it's the first thing that we're covering. Build, and then go and build some more. And here is what you need to do. Start by building a personal project portfolio. Start with something simple like a serverless web app or a multi-tier architecture on AWS. Then you want to start contributing to open source projects. Find a cloud-related project on GitHub and start making your own contributions to it. You want to set up some home labs. Use the free tiers from cloud providers to experiment and learn. Then document your learning journey. Start a blog. Start writing on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and share what you are learning. This reinforces your knowledge and builds your personal brand. Now remember, certifications are a good starting point, but the top 1% of cloud engineers build real-life projects. The second reason why 99% of cloud engineers fail is because they lack great communication skills. And to explain what I mean by that, I want to discuss Warren Buffett. Yes, the most successful investor of all time. Now you might wonder what an investor has to do with cloud engineering. Well, Warren Buffett is known for his ability to explain complex financial concepts in simple yet relatable terms. He once said that if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. And this skill has been crucial to his success. It's allowed him to communicate his investment strategies to shareholders, partners, and the public in a way that builds trust and understanding. And as cloud engineers, we can learn a lot from Warren Buffett's approach. Now, too often, we hide behind technical terms. We forget that our job isn't just to build cloud solutions, but to explain their value to non-technical people. The top 1% of cloud engineers aren't just technically skilled, they're also excellent communicators. They can explain complex cloud architectures to your quote-unquote average person and relay the business value that it brings. They can translate technical challenges into relatable analogies that anyone can understand. Here is how you can improve your communication skills. Firstly, practice the ELI5, the explain like I'm 5 technique. Take a complex cloud concept and explain it to a non-technical friend or family member. Then take part in some form of public speaking. This will help you get comfortable presenting in front of others, because in the tech world, you'll be presenting to stakeholders. I also recommend you start writing. This forces you to articulate your thoughts clearly and concisely. Now remember, the ability to translate complex topics into layman terms is what will propel you into the top 1% of cloud engineers. My next reason why 99% of cloud engineers fail is the comfort zone trap. Now, do you remember Blockbuster? Maybe you're too young to remember this, but they were a video rental giant that people like myself back in the day would pay a visit almost every Friday night. You'd have so many choices for a movie, but they are the perfect example of what happens to you when you get too comfortable. So back in the 2000s, Netflix actually approached Blockbuster with an offer to sell their company for $50 million. Blockbuster's CEO was sitting pretty comfortable with their brick and mortar stores, and he recalls laughing them out of the room. They were the kings of the video rental business, and they had successfully launched this model. They were booming. Why would they change? You can guess how this goes. Forward to 2010, Blockbuster files for bankruptcy, and Netflix, they were worth $9 billion at the time, and today, of course, one of the biggest companies in the world. See, in our world, comfort is just as dangerous. Amazon was just an online bookstore at one point. They could have stayed comfortable and dominated that niche, but Jeff Bezos saw the future was in the cloud. And in 2006, Amazon launched AWS, and a lot of traditional IT people laughed it off, and it's the same attitude they had like Blockbuster did towards online streaming. But Amazon ignored the critics. They kept innovating. They kept pushing the boundaries. EC2, S3, Lambda, SageMaker, they've consistently stayed ahead of the curve. And right now, AWS is nearly a $100 billion revenue stream for Amazon. And to be part of the 1% of cloud engineers, you need to think like Amazon, Netflix, and not like Blockbuster. You don't get comfortable with one technology or service. You're always learning, always evolving. And that's what separates the top 1% from the rest. We're not afraid to be beginners again. We can see change coming and we run towards it and not away from it. It's the same for me. I'm always spending time learning new skills, cloud engineering, DevOps, security, AI. So let me ask you this. Are you a Netflix or are you a Blockbuster? Are you AWS or are you a company that's still insisting that the cloud is just a fad? Because here is the truth. In cloud engineering, there's no such thing as making it. The moment you think that you've arrived, you've already fallen behind. You need to keep progressing and innovating yourself. So what new technology are you learning right now? What's the next big trend that you're getting ahead of? If you don't have an answer, it's time to get uncomfortable. Because in this game, comfort is the enemy of success. Remember that every expert was once a beginner. The top 1%, they're just willing to be beginners more often than the rest. So here is how to stay ahead of the curve. Firstly, you want to set aside dedicated learning time. Aim for at least 3 to 4 hours a week to explore new technologies. You want to follow a structured learning path. And My Cloud Engineering Academy is a great example of this. And then you want to experiment with different cloud providers. If you're an AWS expert, try your hand at Azure or Google Cloud, because over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see more multi-cloud strategies. Make sure you also join online communities like Reddit, engage in discussions and help solve problems. Because remember, in the cloud world, the only constant is change, and you want to embrace it. All right, my next tip on how to be part of the 1% cloud engineers. And I'm going to get real with you guys. You know, somebody asked me if I really believed that I could make it here, where I am right now. And without hesitation, I said yes. I visioned this. You don't become successful without consistent action every day over a long period of time. Yes, you need luck, and timing needs to be on your side, but consistency puts these factors on your side. I just kept plugging away. But that doesn't mean I was always in this situation. I've had many failed experiences, ventures, and I'm not ashamed of them. You see, early on in my career, I was like most of you. I was in this meeting with the dev team, the ops guys, and some front-end developers. They were arguing about some issue, each team blaming each other. And me, I was just lost. Sure, I was learning about the cloud, but I couldn't see how this all fit together. And that's when I realized being a one-trick pony wasn't going to cut it. Not if I wanted to be in the top 1%. So I did something crazy. I decided to learn it all. Front-end, back-end, DevOps, the whole lot, and really research how these pieces actually fit in together when we're building on the cloud. Was it easy? Well, no. The idea that you can become an overnight success is a dream that people sell to you, but it takes at least 3, 4, 5 years to achieve. But you have to start somewhere. I started with the front end, learned enough HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to build a basic website. I started to learn a little bit more about React because I've been building websites since I was 14. So I started to learn these frameworks. Were there some teething problems? Yes, there were. But suddenly, I understood what the front-end devs were actually talking about when they complained about load times or API responses. Because when I was building websites all those years ago, as a freelancer 14-year-old, I didn't know anything about APIs or load times. But only when I started putting in the time to really understand why this is important, especially when we talk about millions of users in the cloud, it really started to make sense. And then I started learning about the backend. I picked up a little bit of Python, learned about integrations, databases. And I remember the first time I built a full stack application and deployed it onto AWS. It was like seeing the Matrix, but I didn't stop there. This was the key for me in my cloud engineering journey. I was always curious and eager to learn more, like a sponge, ready to take in more information. I jumped into DevOps next, learned about CI/CD, infrastructure as code, monitoring. It was like putting on glasses for the first time. Everything came into focus. And you know what? This full stack knowledge, it changed everything. This broader perspective, it put me in the top 1%. Because whilst everyone else was starting to focus on specialization first, I focused on generalizing. I could talk to the front-end devs about optimizing asset delivery through CloudFront. I could work with the back-end team on scaling their APIs with Lambda, an API gateway. I could set up an entire CI/CD pipelines that took code from commit to production in front of customers. This is why I tell my students inside of my Cloud Engineer Academy to always generalize first. Go broad, then specialize where you enjoy most. DevOps, security, data, AI. And it wasn't about being an expert in everything. It was about knowing enough to see how it all fit together. And I knew deep down, I always wanted to work for myself. So this was the vehicle for me to achieve that. And that's what led me to start my own Cloud Engineer Academy and my cloud security consultancy. So here is my challenge to you. Stop thinking of yourself as just a cloud engineer. Start thinking bigger. Learn some front-end, pick up some back-end skills, dive into DevOps and security. I know it seems a little bit overwhelming. Just take your time. Will it be easy? No. Will it be comfortable? No. But that is the point. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. This is your chance to level up, to join the top 1%. And here is what you can do. Study cloud architecture patterns. Practice designing end-to-end solutions. Start with a business problem and work your way through the entire stack. Learn about the AWS well-architected framework. This will give you a structured approach to evaluating architectures. Understand cloud economics. Learn how to optimize costs without sacrificing performance or reliability. So what's it gonna be? Are you gonna stay in your own bubble? Or are you ready to expand your horizons and see the big picture? Well, my friend, the choice is yours. But I'm here to tell you this. The view from up here, running my own academy and my own company, is pretty damn sweet. And look, there's room for you too if you're willing to put in the work. Remember, a great cloud engineer doesn't just build, they architect. Now moving on to my next point. That is the lone wolf syndrome. Something that's become normalized among the online community. The idea to become successful, you have to grind countless hours on your own in your own room. Who needs sleep when you're building the future, right? That was me. Early in my career, the lone wolf. I thought I had it all figured out. Networking, nope. Meetups, waste of time. Now, I can almost hear you thinking, but Suleiman, I'm good at what I do. Isn't that just enough? Well, let me stop you right there and tell you about someone who learned this lesson better than most. Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn. Now, before LinkedIn, Hoffman was a product manager at Apple and Fujitsu, a very smart guy, good at his job. But he realized something crucial very early on. In the tech world, it's not just about what you know, it's about who you know. And I know it sounds cliche, it's something that we've all heard before, but stick with me right here. Hoffman started building his network intentionally. He made a point to connect with at least one new person every day. He attended events, he reached out to people he admired, he offered help without expecting anything in return. And you know what? When he eventually decided to start his own company, he already had a robust network to tap into for advice, for talent, for investment. And that network was the foundation upon which he built LinkedIn, a company that he sold for $26 billion. Well, the lesson here was that your network is your net worth. It's not just a catchy phrase, it's the cold, hard truth of our industry. Now, I know networking doesn't come naturally to so many of us, especially if you're an introvert. But here is the thing, you don't have to become some smooth talking extrovert to build a strong network. You just need to be intentional about it. So let me break it down for you on how you can build a professional network as a cloud engineer. Firstly, you want to start online. LinkedIn isn't just for job hunting. Share your thoughts, comment on others' posts, join relevant groups. It's networking from the comfort of your own home. Start contributing to open source projects. This is a goldmine for introverts. You can showcase your skills and connect with other developers and other engineers all through your skill set. You also want to help others. See someone asking a question, why don't you just answer it? Jump in, offer value. Offering value is the best way to build connections, and you want to be consistent. Because building a network isn't a one-time thing. Make it a habit to reach out to one new person every single week. Because remember, networking is about building genuine relationships. And I'm not saying that you need to become some sort of networking guru overnight. You want to start small. You want to set a goal to reach out to one new person this week. Then next week, maybe attend a virtual meetup. Small steps. But whatever you do, don't make the same mistake that many do. Don't wait until you're standing on the sidewalk with a box of your belongings because your boss has just fired you to realize the importance of building your own professional network. Because here is the reality of our industry. Opportunities don't just fall into your lap. They come through people. That dream job, it might come from a connection that you've made at a virtual conference. That game-changing project, it could stem from a conversation in your LinkedIn group. Your network is like a garden. It needs constant care and attention. But if you nurture it, it will bear fruit when you need it. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep hiding behind your screen, hoping your skills alone will carry you? Or are you ready to step out of your comfort zone and start building a network that can skyrocket your career, literally? Well, of course, again, the choice is yours. But I'll tell you this, since I've started intentionally building my network, doors have opened up that I never even knew existed. It's how I found my first clients for my cloud security company and how I've built a thriving community in my Cloud Engineer Academy. Remember, in the cloud, everything is connected. Your career should be no different. Remember, in the tech world, opportunities often come through who you know and not what you know. Now, I know we've covered a lot. You might be feeling a bit overwhelmed, maybe a little bit discouraged. But here is the thing. If you're feeling that way, it means that you care. It means that you want to be better. And that already puts you ahead of most people. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. The top 1% aren't there because they're geniuses or because they got lucky. They're there because they've committed to excellence day in and day out. I've been where you are. I've felt the frustration, the self-doubt, the overwhelm, but I've also experienced the thrill of solving complex problems, the satisfaction of seeing my skills grow, and the pride of building systems that impact millions of users. And let me tell you that it's worth it. So, my friend, here is your action plan. Firstly, choose one area from the ones that we've discussed to focus on this week. Then you want to set a specific measurable goal related to that area. Once you've done that, you want to take action every day, even if it's just 30 minutes. And at the end of the week, reflect on your progress and choose your next area of focus. Remember, in the world of cloud engineering, the only limit is your willingness to learn and to grow. So are you ready to stop being part of the 99% and join the top 1% of cloud engineers? Well, the choice is yours. But whatever you decide, keep pushing, keep learning, and never lose sight of where you want to be. As always, thank you so much for watching. Go check out my Cloud Engineer Academy, sign up to my newsletter, and do all of those amazing things. And I'll see you guys on the next one.